Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and thank you for blessing us with great weather. And I just pray that as we work tonight, that you'll be with us to make decisions that are for the best of our city and our community, God. And I just pray that you'll be with our community, give us peace and wise decisions moving forward as we continue to grow. In your name I pray. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I'll call the May 9th, 2022 meeting of the Newcastle Public Works Authority to order. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Carl Nell.
Here.
Mike Fullerton.
Here.
Tommy Clay.
Here.
Gene Reed.
Here.
Marcy White.
Here.
Item number 2, discussion and possible action on approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Motion second for approval.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Tommy Clay.
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 3, citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any citizen to comment on any matter related to the City of Newcastle Public Works that is not on the agenda. Might remind anyone who chooses to comment that all speakers shall clearly state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person with only one speaking opportunity. Board members will not respond to comments or questions. The chair may end comment period at his discretion, and prior authorization is required for distribution of materials or to approach the board. This time, is there any citizen comment for items not on the agenda? Please state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name's Taylor James. I'm located at 2110 Northeast 16th Street. This is going to be in regard to the proposed wastewater discharge line that's going to go down 16th Street. By no means are we in opposition of this. We know it's going to happen. The thing is
This is on the agenda,
the open comment discussion.
that particular item.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll discuss that
Okay.
when that item comes
Okay.
up. At that point in time, we can respond back and forth,
Okay.
but under public comments, it is only for non-agenda items,
Gotcha.
and we can't discuss back and forth on
I
that.
apologize.
Right. Any other citizens comment? All right, seeing none, we'll move to item number 4, consent agenda. Are there any items that any member of the board requests to be removed from the consent agenda and addressed individually? Seeing none, item number 4, consent agenda.
Make a motion to consent
That's
agenda.
where
Second.
Well, is it?
What's that?
That's what I was
where
wondering.
the
That
item
item.
is. Yeah.
Oh, that item, okay, I'm sorry. I'm
I
sorry,
know.
we will take item number H out and discuss it individually.
Motion to approve agenda item 4 with H removed.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Tommy Clay.
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 5 is discussion and possible action on any items removed from the consent agenda. Discuss item number 4H, acknowledgement of receipt of ODEQ wastewater discharge permit for existing outfall location and proposed new outfall location. ODEQ permit number OK 000028614 dated March 1, 2022, effective April 1, 2022 through March 31st, 2027. So I've asked Kevin to pull up the proposed outfall location and discuss a little bit with us what the proposal is, what it will consist of as far as from materials, and the extent where it will move from a underground piping system to an open trench.
So the line will come out roughly right in here where the sewer plant, let me get back over, I'm sorry, right here, where the sewer plant will be located. And then it comes down Northeast 16th. It'll come down on the north side of Northeast 16th in the right-of-way, the statutory right-of-way. And roughly discharge, and all of this is underground from this point all the way to the river. And it will roughly discharge just a little bit west here of where the oil lease road turns back to the north. And also one of the things that helps us in this area is there is a locked gate on this roadway. I believe that is right here along with the fence line, and I spoke with our engineer this afternoon. This will, of course, we'll just be sharing locks on that with the oil lease. But the goal is to get this line along the north side of the right-of-way as far down, as close to the river as we can possibly get, and still be able to access it to take samples from that line, from the discharge. There's going to be some needed graded work down here, but all of this will be graded and channeled where this line does come out to where everything should drain directly into the river with no, no spreading, no overflow or anything of that nature.
How far back where does it gonna open at potentially? Like where you,
Roughly 100 feet-ish back to the west of where this road turns to the north. It's where the pipe comes out of the ground.
To the left.
To the left.
okay, that's what.
Back toward the plant.
Okay.
So if you scroll back out again, you can see those in the.
How big is the line to be, like underground, like 18 through or what?
Not sure at this point. There's been discussions of potentially 14, 16. Now, 16 is the main size that has been discussed. But that should be, potentially, that may be part of that packet, DEQ packet.
'Cause
I'm not positive, I haven't seen it.
Does that leave us size for growth, like as we add to it later? Is that big enough for later?
No, I think, yeah, if it's 16 inch, I think it's going to handle a lot of discharge
Okay.
for a long period of time.
So basically, it will be underground
Mm-hmm.
for approximately 1 mile east of Portland Avenue.
Correct.
And then it will go into an open trench for what looks like potentially 200 to 300 feet at the most.
Correct.
Okay.
And in theory, that water would be allowed, DEQ would allow to be discharged into the river, right into the river. The nature of that water is.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they will, I mean, that's what this approval is for.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how you describe or define that water, but it is well treated at that point, obviously, right?
Yes.
Our existing point, we discharge directly into
Into
Pond
creek.
Creek.
Yep.
So, and then it goes to the river from there. But the new one will skip the Pond Creek.
Which that's been, we've tested, they've had, over the years, with Pond Creek, it's been tested, Oklahoma's tested it, it's all been, it's actually a very viable ecosystem, not ecosystem, but, yeah, ecosystem.
Yeah.
During that, that's gonna unfortunately kill that creek off when we move everything over, because there's not gonna be anything really running into it anymore.
Correct. Yeah.
Where did we go right now? Are we going out further north? So where do we put out now?
No, just
South.
right on the north side of the sewer plant into Pond Creek.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
right
that's the
within
plant.
50
Yeah,
feet.
there's another wastewater treatment.
It goes right
Oh,
on.
okay.
And so we were going to have to move that discharge line anyway, but we're doing it as a part of our new plant.
So this is approved, like no objections from, when it was we first talked about all this, it was possible objections from other people or whatever. We're past all that now? We're good?
Yes. Yeah, it went through all of the processes of other cities being able to file objections or complaints or anything of that nature because of what we were discharging or the amounts that we'll be discharging. None of that took place, so everything has passed with DEQ on the discharge side of this.
Okay.
This is close, it's not a gravity fed, it is a.
Should be a pressure line. Yes,
Okay.
force main.
All right, any public comment concerning this agenda item? State your name and address for the record.
Taylor James, I'm located real close there, 2110 Northeast 16th. Some of this is new information to me, and when you look at the agenda that got posted and how it's written, where it called that they could discharge outside the 100-year floodplain, that throws off a lot of things. Technically, if you look at the Latin Lounge of the direct location, it's on the south side of the road, and in order to move it to the north side, you really got to have DEQ's approval for that as well. The only thing that I would really stress to the council and to please consider is just the health and safety aspect of having an open trench like that further away from the river. So if the council is really, just understand that this open trench can have a real bad impact for landowners, and where they're going to discharge that is in a low-lying area that floods all the time as well too. So thank you. That's all I have.
Real quick,
Thank you.
do you understand the
quality water that actually comes out of them.
Yeah, I understand treated wastewater, yeah,
It's-
completely understand that. The concept that I have, or the objection that I have, which I don't object to this happening, I know it's gonna happen, it's just the fact of the open trench. Whereas if you could get it closer to the river and go directly into the river, that seems to always be the better bet. But,
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
Any other public comment on this agenda item?
Carl, if I may, Gordon Harness, and this is really individually, but as you cross the oil field road where it turns back north, are you gonna have to bridge over your trench?
It's possible. Kenny and I did not discuss that portion of it.
Well, just as I was sitting here, I was just thinking, sure it seems to me you ought to take the pipe under it, and not have to have an open bridge there, but that's just 2 cents worth, you might talk to Kenny.
Yeah, the only thing is if that goes under, I mean, we're getting too far out to where they won't, potentially won't be able to take samples. Get to the end of the pipe to take samples, because what they're looking at is where the water line, or the river line basically can actually come up to.
Yeah,
Which is about where he's got his hand there.
yeah, very, yeah,
So we can't get too close.
Right.
because it fluctuates.
Typically, like you see with Moore's, Waste Creek, where their discharge is, Moore happens to be one on the other side of the river. They've got a large concrete structure with riprap around it to try to protect that, should there be any rises in the river.
Oh, yeah, is that them off 149th?
No, they're off Indian Hills. If you took Indian Hills straight into the river, it's right there.
Oh, okay.
I would just, throwing out here again, the things we need to check on is, that I believe that's an oil field road only. And we'll probably need an agreement with the oil company to have an easement on top of their easement or with the landowners. I doubt that the oil company has a right to give an easement for that. So we may need an access easement going down there.
Well, as long as the oil company maintains access, they're fine. They've got a blanket easement for access to their oil lease typically.
To theirs, but
And
we
so-
can't use it.
But as long as we maintain their access, then it doesn't really matter. Because on some of our stuff before, we've taken completely just got rid of the oil lease road that was there as long as we provided them an alternative access.
Oh,
So
then
they don't have
access.
rights to that specific piece of access. They have a general access, so as long as we maintain that, they're okay.
So you could move it
Well,
10
but
foot.
do
to
we
the
have a right to use, when, their road exists because they have an oil lease?
We have a right to be in the statutory right of way, which is where we will be.
If it's open,
Huh?
if it's open,
If it has never been closed by the county commissioners.
or if it's open. I mean, we got the same problem there we had with Charles Young.
Yeah, and there was question, you know, as to
And Kevin, the only, you can only sample literally at the end of the pipe?
Yeah, and one of the things that we wanted to try to do was to put some sort of valve up toward the
Yeah.
plant.
Right,
to-
or even 10 feet further, okay, I'll just
Yeah,
think out
to
loud.
take a sample, and obviously they didn't want us doing that. and-
They,
A DQ.
Oh, okay.
And
It's not
required it to
intrusive.
be at the end of the pipe.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say so.
That was our
I was
first
thinking- I was
thought.
thinking an access pad, just an access port of some sort.
Exactly, and that was our first thought, was to try to,
Because if there was seepage into this pipe along the way, then you wouldn't catch it if you did it anywhere but at the very end, right?
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
not
yeah, and I
true,
mean,
right?
and the main reason that we wanted to try to do an access point up the line somewhere, just to test for samples, is because when you get off down here, if you start having, river rising and things of that nature, well, it becomes dangerous for our crews.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Which is why we can't stick it all the way out into the river, because they can't access the end of the pipe.
All righty.
You understand that right now, our current way we discharge is into Open Creek, that meanders its way to the river for a mile and a half, isn't it?
Yeah, roughly, yes.
So, I mean, we're exasperated shortening the amount of open that we currently have.
Right.
That's what we're doing.
Right.
So, Chairman, in a lot of the citizens' comments, what would you have in place that would address any issues that occur because if flooding or if that become a problem to the property out there?
Well, I mean, they've designed this with that in mind.
Okay.
They've designed it with the channel at the end of this to go directly into the river to prevent overflow or flooding coming out of this. Now, there was talk at one point, and I would have to clarify this, but putting some sort of concrete box in down there, of course, that contains this pipe and it comes out and lets it all flow directly toward the river. I would have to clarify again that with Kenny, but, you know, DEQ has approved it
They're pretty tight.
with everything in mind, so I'm quite certain that the plans we presented were acceptable.
Yeah, so I wasn't challenging the plan at all. I just know the nature of our city is if anything doesn't work right out there, you'll be on top of it anyway.
Sure, absolutely.
That's what
Absolutely.
that's the assurance that we would give our citizens, I think. If it does introduce a problem, we'll address it, right?
Absolutely.
And your people out there doing the test how often? Week, monthly?
At least once a week. It may be a couple of times a week.
So they would know right away
Mhm.
if there was some unfortunate change to the flooding or something like that.
Right.
Thank you.
I think that's what I was gonna ask. How often they test it? Yeah, it's very structured.
Yes.
Like they have very pre-regimented.
All right, any other comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve agenda item 4H.
Second.
Motion second for approval of agenda item number 4H.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Were you the second?
I was the second.
No, it was me, okay.
He's still on some voice
She
again.
can't tell your
Okay.
voices apart ever, can she?
I'll start over. Okay, Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 6, discussion and possible action on approval of request by Chris McKeever for establishment of a water utility account, City of Blanchard, at the address within the City of Newcastle, having no Newcastle water service availability to serve property in the vicinity of 1500 South County Line Road.
Are you going to cast back up there?
Yeah.
Oh, you did, okay, good. This is kind of like, we've had this before, seen this down on County Line Road or in various areas. We don't have any water line, Newcastle water line located out there, therefore, sometimes residents move in on our side of County Line Road and request to connect to Blanchard. I would suggest with this one, I don't know that we have in others, when others came before council in the past, but I would suggest and recommend, if council decides to approve this, that as part of the motion, if Newcastle ever installs water line in that area, these residents that are connecting to Blanchard would then have to disconnect and reconnect or connect to Newcastle water.
Now, they wouldn't be charged a fee though, would they?
It hasn't been discussed so far.
Why wouldn't they?
Well, they're already being charged a fee connecting once. Now, is their bill coming through Blanchard, or is their bill coming?
Blanchard.
We're off.
But
It's a
we're
convenience.
mandating them at that point. It's not convenience. At that point, we're mandating them to switch over.
Yeah.
Well, we're allowing them, it's a convenience for them to be able to connect there, but if we have water there, then it's no different than anybody else.
Yeah, but they've already paid fees once, as far as I'm
It was a
concerned.
choice, though, they could also get a water.
True, but then we'd have to convince them, then again, if water come by, theoretically speaking, they're supposed to
I'm just
tie on.
thinking,
So using your analogy, if someone drilled a well there, in 2 years from now, we lay a line, they would be required to hook to our line.
No, they would not.
They would
They're
not?
They would not.
Oh, excuse me.
Now, if we have a line there and they build, then they have to hook on.
Okay,
If we put a line and they've got a well, we don't require them to hook on.
all right.
So why would we do different here, is my question.
City water.
I understand, well, but
Well, I mean, they're connecting to city water.
We don't have services there, we're giving it away, we may in the future have services there. And I would think if they chose to want to tie to Newcastle versus more likely, the water's gonna be cheaper coming from us than it is from Blanchard. Don't know for a fact, but I know Blanchard purchases from us, so I know that at a quantity rate. My point is, if they choose at that point, then we would charge them like each fee. I just don't know about mandating. Like I said, it's individual houses, is this a development?
Individual house on this one.
I just don't like the idea of penalizing a homeowner that's already, when they built, we didn't have services. Same way if they built a well, we didn't have services, so they built a well, and we put water into them, and I think, to me, it looks at it the same way, even though it is city water, and I understand that's the difference, but
Then,
I don't personally.
okay, under that line of thought, then, do we not make them come back then? But if they decide to come back, then they pay.
I think once we've offered and allowed them the access to them, I don't think we require them to change anything at that point, unless they stop getting service from Blanchard, then they have to make a choice.
I've seen other cities with relation to sewer line. And I can speak to this because it happened to my parents years ago in Midwest City. They were on septic system in the area that they lived, and Midwest City ran a new sewer line down in front of their property, and it was mandatory to connect to that line, even though they had been there in that home for 30 years plus on septic system, and they had to connect, and they only gave them a period of time to get connected.
Well,
So,
and to me, water and sewer is a little bit different. Because a lot of times cities, you're trying to get away from septic, especially on condensed area, that you're putting that wastewater, which is not treated near like ours is, but out onto either into the soil or, so you have, but I can somewhat see that argument. I personally don't like the idea of penalizing an individual for that purpose. Now, maybe if it's a development, that we allow development access, and then it's a one different change hookup. Might be a little different for me, but an individual homeowner to penalize them 10 years from now or 2 years from now, and make them have to, I don't mind mandating it, we have to connect it, but I don't see them paying leakage fees for that.
well, and I can agree with that. I mean, I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah.
I just think if we have Newcastle water available, they live in Newcastle, they should be connected.
I don't want to I don't want to get them with leakage fees again.
Yeah.
So that's
The impact fees.
Impact fees.
Yeah,
Is that, what does that look like as far as cost-wise? Are we gonna be taking costs for that, or would we be better letting them stay, and then if they wanted to come, if they chose to come over, then they could pay at that time? Like, I don't even know how many people this really affects in the long, either, so that kind of plays into it for me as well.
We may have 4 or 5 people right now up and down Blanchard county line that have connected. There's not very many homes.
I kind of like to think about this for a while. I'm at a point now, I'd rather handle this the same way we have the last few, and then hear a proposal in the future to, from this point forward.
And kind of the way it is now, if they wanted to hook on, if we put a line and they wanted to hook on, they'd have to pay the impact fees. And so
Right.
that's how it is now. We just aren't mandating that they hook on, should we put a line through there. And I'm okay with that.
Right.
And I'm okay with that, again, if they choose,
If they choose.
Well,
if
yeah.
they get to this point, they choose, say, all right, we're here, we want to be on Newcastle water, then to me, it's okay, here it is, just like
Right.
anybody else, here's your linkage fees, here you go. I think what Kevin's deal is, and not to speak for you, but it's that it's a cleaner slate for Newcastle if you're within, if we've got service, that we go ahead and pull everybody
Right.
in to keep, so there's not a question, because
Right.
we get they call all the time, they're in the city of Newcastle, they're calling about water, and we don't have water,
Yeah.
or we've got a couple that they lose service from Tuttle, and we don't have service there yet. What are we gonna do there? I mean, I understand that part, I just don't like the leaking part, but I can see, I'm fine with where we are now, perfectly fine with allowing them there. If they want to come back, we charge a linkage fee. And I think we can talk more directly as council and more in depth to talk about, do we want to make a statute that requires a hookup?
Or how we
If
handle
you are on other municipal water and we provide services, then everybody's required to.
Well, it's basically already there in the ordinance. I mean, if they're within so many feet of water,
They have
they
to.
are supposed to connect.
But I always thought that
But
was.
that, if they've got an existing well, they don't have to.
Well,
Other-
yes, I'm saying city water.
Yeah, I don't know
It
if it
doesn't
addresses city
If,
water.
yeah, if they're connected with Blanchard and
So
we
that's-
lay our line,
Does it lay it out that way? I don't remember laying it out.
I don't know that that's addressed, I think, in that
I feel like
ordinance.
we talked about that before, but what it doesn't address, so it's silent on if they're on another city's water, is what it is. It's, the ordinance is silent on that. That's what we would have to go back and add definition to.
So I'm all about that, cleaning that up, but I don't.
Well, I think
You
we,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Be heard.
Clarify for us.
Give us knowledge.
Under Public Works, Title V, Chapter 52, Water Connections, mandatory use well permit, 52.02A, the owners of all houses, buildings, property used for human occupancy, employment, education, recreation, or other purposes situated within the city and abutting on any street, alley, or right-of-way in which there is now located or may be in the future be located, or within 1,320 feet of the property line there is located a municipal water line, are hereby required at their expense to connect to their facility with the proper municipal water line in accordance with all municipal requirements and pay all municipal fees and charges thereof within 120 days after the date of official municipal notice to do so. Basically, is what that's saying is that if we extend a water line down to County Line Road and they're within that 1,320 feet, that we would give them notice to connect. Now, they can operate their well permit, and so B, it goes on to say it's unlawful for any person to maintain or establish a private well to serve a facility unless he or she first be connected to the municipal water system and pay the monthly water fees and charges, provided he or she meets all the requirements for the mandatory hookup established in A above.
we have never, ever, and we have read that to where only if it was existing, did you have to hook up if you were building a new residence or making a new use. So we have
Right.
never in arrears. So in this instance, when they were already on a well or another, or at least a well, we would not require them to hook up if we put a water line down within 1,320 feet of their dwelling.
But many people would choose to.
They would, but we have
They would.
never
We've
required
never
that.
sought out, since my time here, and if they have a well permit and say, you know, water's available now over on 8th Street,
Right.
that we would say you would have to connect to this.
No, we've
You know,
never
on a
read it
new
that way.
development, not on something where there was an existing well and it came in, we have
Correct.
not enforced.
Correct.
I mean, because that's 1,300 foot
But-
of water line being put in, plus whatever distance is from their property line to the
It's
house.
like quarter mile.
Yeah, I think that, we've always read that was for new development. You know, even though it says there will be a water line there, I think that's, if it's planned, we've always read that if it's planned to be while they're
It does, it says,
establishing them.
well, it says within, or within the 1,320 feet of the property line in the near future, 1 to 5 years. An individual may utilize or establish a private well without connection to the municipal water system and without payment. So, if they already have one established and it comes down there, I'm sure that, I know several people that have done both. They're like, oh, they get the water, they keep their well permit, they've already got that established, paid for, ODQ approval, and then they can, oops.
I don't know, most of typically we use the well to
Water.
watering and plant stuff.
But there's a lot of wells out here, and we are not gonna require well users to hook onto water when we run it by their house. At all. Like I said, lots of people do, lots of people in my family have chosen to, just because it's better water, but anyway. Well, I think we can vote on this one and move forward, just as how we typically have done in the past, without that requirement, and then we can look into if we want to do anything on that requirement in the future.
The thing I'd just add is, as confusing as that seemed to be,
Mhm.
I would like for us to clarify that as to
Okay.
the way
We understand
we
it.
understand it.
Agreed.
Because when we're gone, and someone else gets in and read it, and I don't,
Right.
Right.
I would like to be
But
that.
this has been raised before, and we settled on
Yes.
exactly as you said,
But
Mayor.
it's been our voice, it hasn't, we haven't been able to necessarily say, this is exactly how it reads. It says, we said, this is how, what we've
We've always
always
past
done.
practice. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, so,
So let's get a motion going.
make a motion to approve item,
6.
6.
That's Tommy.
I heard it. Yeah.
I'll second it. That's Mike.
Motion second for approval of item number 6.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 7, monthly treasurer's report.
Okay, hi everybody. I want to start off with our, since we are in the 11th month of the fiscal year, ideally we should be at 83.3% with execution. All of our operating departments are doing pretty close to that. The couple that are high are due to some increased cost. Fuel is kind of being hammered by street is kind of being hammered by the fuel prices right now. And we had some real expensive repairs in the fire department for some engines. So those two are operating above, but they're for extenuating circumstances. Our sales and use tax for the month of April was $735,000, almost $736,000. $640,000 of that was from sales. The remaining $96,000 was from use tax. It is up a little bit from last month, but if you'll keep in mind, we amended the tax revenues to line up more accurately with actual realized receipts. So we are actually, with the end of April, 0.5% lower than where we were budgeted to be. We're 6% lower than our monthly target. And compared to previous years, though, we're still a lot higher. We're 13.3% higher than last year and 19.2% higher than the year before. I will say, since we are a little lower, it kind of made me a little concerned about our amendments, but this month was good, and you'll hear about that next. Our current indebtedness is a little over $3.9 million. I'll just run through our balances right quick. For general fund, it's 3.4. The capital improvement is 1.9. Economic development is 38. The cemetery care fund is 64. Parks capital improvement is 68,000. Fire station fund is at 1.775 million. Kevin did do a one-time transfer for the end of year to add some money to a fire station fund, so that is a little higher than what it was budgeted, but that is on the budget amendment. The admin and tech fund is sitting at 100,000. The grant cost share fund is sitting at 1.8 million. That is another one-time transfer Kevin did this year for 600,000, so that we should not have it in our budget next year. He worked real hard to keep that deficit, as you all learned about last week. So that is why that one is so high. The fire department tax fund collected 974,000. We've spent 2.5 million on our fire department. The PWA fund is 2.7 million. Water impact fee is 1.1 million. The wastewater impact fee is 1.2 million. And our wastewater plant fund is sitting at 3.5 million. I do want to make note that 930,000 of that is our ARPA money, that first half. There was also, if you recall, Jeanette talking about the OEDPF money. We got our first installment of that, and that was 223,000. I did put that, both of those are included in that wastewater plant fund just for now until I'm told
What was
to do
that other
otherwise.
one? ARPA and what?
The OEDPF, Jeanette had secured some funds for us that's going to pay out over, what, the next 3 years?
3 years. Is that the Native American one?
No.
That's where those businesses set aside.
Correct, it comes from the Oklahoma Finance Department
Okay.
Authority, so it's money from 4 different businesses, and instead of their income money going to the state, it comes to us.
Gotcha. I remember that now. Thank you.
The new fund, the transportation impact fee fund, is now at 54,000, and all our funds combined are 17.7 million. Are there any questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Item number 8, general manager's comments.
And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now because it was very exciting. We're not gonna wait till next month. Our sales tax did come in today, and sales and use tax totals were $877,000. The highest all year long. So now, that could be contributed to a lot of factors. Maybe some businesses didn't pay in what they should have last month, or whatever. I tend to believe people are out there shopping and spending money in Newcastle, so we're just gonna keep it that way.
I've been shopping.
Yeah. So anyway, other than that, I really don't have anything to report on water at this point.
Item number 9, any trustees' comments? Item 10 is adjournment.
Make a motion for adjournment?
Second.
Motion second for adjournment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. This time I'll call the May 9th, 2022 meeting of Newcastle City Council to order. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Carl Nell.
Here.
Mike Fullerton.
Here.
Tommy Klein.
Here.
Jane Reed.
Here.
Marcy White.
Here.
And that was, Mayor, I would like to request that item 8 of the agenda be removed. That was put on the agenda by mistake. We weren't quite ready for that item.
Oh,
All right. All right. Item number 2, discussion and possible action approval of the agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the exception of item number 8, which is stricken.
Second.
Motion second for approval of the agenda as amended.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Tommy Klein.
Yes.
Jane Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 3, citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any citizen to comment on any item related to the city of Newcastle that is not on the agenda. Might remind any citizens that choose to comment that all speakers shall clearly state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person with only 1 speaking opportunity. Council members will not respond to comments or questions. The mayor may end comment period at his discretion, and prior authorization is required for distribution of materials or to approach the council. This time, is there any public comment for the city of Newcastle for items not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move to item number 4, consent agenda. Are there any items any member of council would choose to be removed from the agenda and addressed individually? Seeing none, I move item number 4, consent agenda.
motion to approve the consent agenda, item number 4.
Second.
Motion second for approval of the consent agenda.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Tommy Klein.
Yes.
Jane Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 5, discussion and possible action on any items removed from the consent agenda. Be no action on that agenda item. Item number 6, discussion and possible action on recommendation of Planning Commission. Item 6A, public hearing, discussion and possible action on the recommendation to approve application for rezoning from Windermere PUD Plan Unit Development CN1 to Windermere PUD Plan Unit Development RF1 for Meek Development LLC, a property located in the northwest quarter, section 15, Township 9 North, Range 4, West Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma, and for adoption of ordinance number 908, property location in the southeast corner of Northwest 16th Street and Country Club Road, Newcastle, Oklahoma, case number R 2022-001.
Good evening, council members. Janae Greenlee with the Planning Department. The first item, 6A, R 2022-001, is a rezoning from PUD, Ordinance 785, which allowed the CN1 neighborhood shopping and the O1 suburban office to RF1 single-family residential to a PUD, with the RF1 guiding that development regulation. This is for Meek Development, located at the southeast quadrant of Northwest 16th and Country Club Road. As I stated, it is already a PUD, and they're rezoning to PUD with the RF1 regulations guiding that. You have to the northeast E1 suburban estate residential. To the east is the Windermere PUD, as well as the south, and the west is ag. The lot is currently vacant, and it's proposed to be used for residential subdivision with 58 lots that are 7,200 square feet. That is the RF1 lot size regulation. And they also wrote in a 85% masonry requirement on all elevations. Planning staff does support, and so does, as well as Planning Commission, supports and recommends approval of R 2022-001. I will show you, this is the site development map. So this is the tract that we're talking about. So the PUD is named tract 1 and 2 for the new PUD. All other remaining tracts will be under the current PUD ordinance.
This,
It's this right here at the corner of
this is an
Country.
area that, when it was originally proposed, the neighbors had lots of issues with there being commercial in that corner, so this softens that use from commercial to, back to residential, and it also comes in at 7,200 square foot on the lots, which the existing lots in the remainder of Windermere are 6,000? Are they so too?
No, there are some 6,000 square foot
Well,
lots.
the
And-
corner,
Yeah.
southeast corner of the 6,000.
Right.
So there are some in there, but anyway, so this is a good size lot as well.
And they made the additional requirement of the masonry requirement as well.
Is there any public comment concerning this agenda item?
Carl, if I could, just, as from the planning commission, one of the significant things that brought us to support this is one member who did not support it, wanting to stay consistent with commercial, but in talking to the developer, this section there's been no interest in developing this commercially at the time, and there was discussion by members that for light office, neighborhood office here, it's, until there's a lot more development on Main Street, it's unlikely somebody's gonna come out there and get an office there, so it was, and the developer indicated he had not had any opportunity to develop this commercially, and rather than have it sit empty, that's another plus for going ahead and developing this, and I think the improved requirements here, it'll be a positive development. That was our position.
Thank you, Gordon.
And that was the only commercial in that whole thing, right?
Yep. There's the
Yeah.
storage and things like that.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, with the
this-
storage. Okay,
Yeah,
storage.
and then this is for the senior multifamily. And there is at the corner of Fox and Country Club at the south, where the mobile home park is,
Oh.
that portion is supposed to revert to commercial.
Okay, I didn't realize that was part of it.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
Would you say the other one is senior living?
This one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that's gonna be normal, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This one's
That's
RF1.
pretty-
And the mini storage is currently there.
Yeah.
And this access road is what they'll be using, and they'll have one other access off of Country Club. But they'll use the existing one off of Northwest 16.
Looks great.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve item 6A as discussed.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second for approval of item 6A.
And adopt the ordinance.
Mhm.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Jean is gone. Jean Reed absent, Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 6B, discussion of possible action on adoption of emergency clause ordinance number 908.
Make a motion to approve item 6B.
Second?
Motion second for approval of 6B.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Jean Reed absent, Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 6C, discussion of possible action on approval of Windermere preliminary plat.
So the preliminary plat of Windermere had expired because it was still under that 2-year requirement. So now this comes in, it's a preliminary plat of all undeveloped portions of Windermere. So they have to be, when they come in for their final plats, it will have to mirror what the preliminary plat was approved on. So this is a preliminary plat of the unplatted portions, which includes that tract 1 and 2, the tract 4, and I can go back to the development map, which really gives you, so outlined in red is everything that is included in this preliminary plat. Everything else has already gone through the final platting process. So it's tract 1 and 2, and then tract 3. The applicant has been through preliminary plat review iterations with city staff and has satisfied all the requirements. Planning staff and planning commission recommended approval of the re-preliminary plat for Windermere.
So were there any changes to?
They moved this access right here, so this access was located further south, and they moved it up here.
What road is that?
St. Louis.
Opening on the country club.
This is country club here.
Yes, that's Country Club.
Oh, okay. Into, oh, yeah.
Ties in a country club, States Avenue, is the new street.
And for which part of the plat was that?
That would be.
Take me back to that one where you had the circles.
Kind of the southwest portion of the property.
Oh, you want to go back to
Oh.
this,
Okay,
this
southwest?
here.
Okay,
Yep,
okay,
right here.
gotcha,
So it was further south. They
Oh,
had to
okay.
relocate it
gotcha.
due to some utilities.
No, I was just trying to get it in my mind.
Sure.
I'm very visual. Okay. So that was the only thing that was changed off the first one?
Mm-hmm.
Any public comment concerning this agenda item? Any additional staff comment?
Gene, conflict on this, or is it just?
Conflict?
Item, I make a motion to approve item 6C.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 6C.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Jean Reed, absent. Marcy White,
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 6D, public hearing, discussion and possible action on recommendation to approve application for rezoning from A agriculture to E2 suburban estate residential for Joshua Plummer, part of Lot 3 of Section 18, Township 9 North, Range 4 West, Indian Meridian, containing 1 acre more or less, McLean County, Oklahoma, and for adoption of ordinance number 909, case number R 2022-002.
This item, R 2022-002, is a rezoning from Ag, General Agriculture, to E2 Suburban Estate Residential District adjacent to 704 North County Line Road. It is a 1 acre non-conforming Ag parcel. Therefore, to obtain a building permit, they need to get into a zoning designation that will meet that minimum lot area. Because Ag is 5 acres, they can't get a building permit, so this is basically bringing the 1 acre non-conforming Ag lot in conformance, bless you, with the E2, Suburban Estate Residential District. Staff,
So 7-4 is across the street, this is right across the
oh,
street.
here you go,
Yeah.
there you go,
Need a map.
there you go.
County Line Road, northwest.
And this is just another case where people deeded off tracts of land and didn't have to have a lot split because it was not financed at the time or anything along those lines, so it was maintained its ag zoning, but,
Oh, okay.
but
I was
it's not,
wondering how it happened.
yeah, but it's not legal to have that in here, but until they need something, it doesn't
Gotcha.
come up.
So how do we, I mean, not that I'm against, but, I mean, it's not this person's fault, like,
We just have to catch them when they come up, Tommy.
Yeah, when they come in for building permit, and, you know, we have our requirements for lot split warranty deed approvals online, and until somebody comes in for a building permit, or they call and they want to add an accessory structure, or they want to add anything to their lot to get a building permit, we don't know that it's non-conforming.
A lot of times you'll get it if they have to finance the land to purchase it, then their lender is gonna require a lot split, or deed approval one, so, but absent that, you know, we just have to catch it.
It's just one of those things where the system just doesn't, like, they don't have to
well,
get our
important is
approval
at
to do
this
it.
point,
then-
whoever
Okay.
owns the land now, it's non-conforming, they want to build on it, but if we say, well, that, you're not allowed to have that small, of a build on that small lot, it just kind of ties our hand to,
Yeah. But it's exactly the same as north and south of them, so it's not like, it's not, yeah, I know.
That's why I'm not
not like
specific,
this one,
maybe
it's
it's what it
just
should, but it's the general aspect that I know that this has been happening a decent amount where people are selling off land that is less quantities of what in areas that, where they're wanting to, and just trying to figure out how to.
There's not a way to prevent that at all, it's just, it is what it is.
They're really not.
Okay.
Really, yeah. Yeah, Mayor's
Okay.
right, they're,
That's how we
I
ended
mean,
up with a Dalmatian rescue on ag land.
Yeah.
Okay, so really the only thing we can do is just make sure they put it into the right
correct
zoning they
zoning.
want to build.
Yeah, it would be bad if they came in and somebody didn't say, oh, you don't have a non-conforming lot and give them a building permit. So that, we're catching it as they come in, you know, and that's really the only way we can do it. Or when they call and they ask me, hey, I want to split off an acre off my ag lot, and I go, sorry, you can't
Well.
do that.
Yeah, okay. All right.
A resolution.
Sorry.
No, it's, you know, I don't have any issue. I mean, like I said, it's, the other areas around it have the smaller lots.
Mhm.
So it's been split through there regularly already. So, with that being said, I'll make a motion to approve item 6D.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 6D.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White,
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 6C, discussion of possible action on adoption of the emergency clause of ordinance number 909.
Motion to approve item 6E.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item 6E.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 6F, public hearing discussion of possible action on recommendation to approve application for rezoning from A Agriculture to E1 Suburban Estate Residential for Stan and Susan Campbell, trustees for the Campbell Trust. Property located in the southwest quarter, the northwest quarter, the southeast quarter, section 14, township 9 north, range 4 west, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma. And for adoption of ordinance number 910, property address 410 North Walker, Newcastle, Oklahoma, case number R2022-003.
So this is basically the exact same thing.
Okay.
So this will make you happy. This is a rezoning from ag for a non-conforming lot located at 401 North Walker Drive. It is 2.60 acres. The same thing. Went and did a warranty deed at one point and has a non-conforming lot. They now want to obtain a building permit, and so they're coming in, and we are rezoning them to E1 to make their lot conforming. This is the location right here along Walker Drive.
This was a grove.
Yeah, and he's not gonna do that, so there's a positive.
Yeah, it's very positive. I mean, that's,
That what?
there was a grove.
There was a grove
Oh.
there,
That was
so
allowed.
that goes away now, with this. He's not going to continue that.
Oh, I
'cause-
remember, because we were looking at the distance from the school, right?
Yeah. The school distance right now, as far as OMA goes, it applies to dispensaries, not to
Oh,
groves.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
maybe we said that and then they told us that.
Yeah.
I just remember I had a connection.
But,
Okay.
so, same thing, bringing it into conformance so they can obtain a building permit. Planning staff and planning commission, recommended approval and, R 2022-003.
So I have a question. When they come in, are they like, what in the world are you talking about? They're clueless about it? Because I would be. I'd be like, they needed this land, we can build on it.
Yeah, and there is a
Like-
provision in our code that if you have a warranty deed, and I tried to work with them, I always tell them to go research at the county, obtain the first original warranty deed, because if it's predated to like June something 1973, that if it's a non-conforming lot, that it's already been warranty deeded that long ago, that we just would say, okay, your warranty deed shows that it was broke off in 1969, August 2. So we'd say, oh, you're
They don't have to do anything.
basically grandfathered in.
Okay.
Yeah, so if
Maybe
they can show us a warranty deed prior to that date, then we don't have to, do a rezoning to get their lot into conformance.
Gotcha.
Prior to what date again?
It's June, I want to say June 12th, 1973 is it's 1973 for sure.
Testing her to see if she knows her job well. Good job.
I know the year, exact date, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's June 12th or something like that, I think it is.
If you hadn't have grimaced.
I'm pretty sure, but, yeah.
Make a motion to approve item 6F.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item 6F.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay?
Yes.
Gene Reed?
Yes.
Marcy White? Yes. Carl Nell?
Yes. Item 6G, discussion of possible action on adoption of emergency clause ordinance number 910.
Make a motion to approve item 6G.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item 6G.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White,
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 6H, public hearing, discussion of possible action on recommendation to approve application for rezoning from A agriculture to E2 urban estate residential for Stanley and Eva Jo Bowles, located in the southwest quarter of southwest quarter of section 6, township 9 north, range 4 west, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma, and for adoption of ordinance number 911, property address 2704 North Rocky Road, Newcastle, Oklahoma, case number R 2022-004.
So this should make you happy, Councilmember Clay. So the applicant, Stanley and Eva Jo Bowles, came into the planning department and they said, hey, we have a 5-acre lot. I want to live next to my mom and build a house. And I was like, well, you can only have one single family house per lot. And then we look at their lot frontage, we look at their acreage, and we go, okay, she wants to be able to live near her mom and in her own house and let her mom be able to maintain her autonomy and live in their house and live right next door. So we suggested, planning staff suggested to rezone to E2, suburban estate residential, because they will have the lot frontage to meet that. They can meet the setbacks with the current house that's on the lot right now. And so they will rezone to E2 for a future lot split warranty deed approval. So it's doing it the right way. So it's currently used as residential. They'll have to follow all the required zoning and fill out the lot line warranty deed approval and then file that with the county and thus create 2 lots out of the 4.97 acres. And this is the location at 2704 Rocky Road.
So what's the average lot size of everything that's surrounding them right there?
5, and then you got some E2 down to the south here. So you got
And E1 across the
E1
street.
across the street. So you have some, and not all E1. E1 is 80,000 square feet, so you know, almost 2 acres. But you have various 1.5 acres, 2 acres. So the surrounding zoning is mixed there with E and 2 and 1 and ag.
West of
So
Country.
this is the property,
That's correct, sir.
that's the property
West
there.
of 76.
Now, if they're gonna do it for future lot split, how are they planning on splitting that 5 acres up?
Straight down the middle.
Is there gonna be setback enough from the house and
Yep.
everything else there?
Yep, from this current house. That's what we go over. I go make sure when we do that, when we assess it for a lot split warranty deed, we have to look at the current house and make sure that it'll be conforming with the setbacks and the lot frontage as well.
And are those other lots still ag? I may have missed that, the ones north of it.
I believe so. From the way,
Anything 5 acres
Yes.
is ag, doesn't it?
pardon?
Anything 5 acres or more is ag.
It could
Correct.
be ag,
It
not
could be.
necessarily
You
is.
could-
large,
You could have a larger lot that was zoned E1 and it be 10 acres, you know, but most of the time.
The reason I even asked Janae is, and this strikes me as what's happening in Newcastle, that people are, families are wanting to do this.
Mhm.
I think, and occasionally we have, and maybe we'll have to ask if there's any objection of their neighbors, but occasionally someone will say, no, I don't want them to change because I like this, so, but I think more and more of our families are looking for the opportunity to have other homes on their lots like that.
They are. Aging in place is a big thing and being able to take care of your parents while they, but we did not get any protests. So there was a 300-foot notification for this, for the rezoning, and there were no protests regarding this request.
That was my next question.
I would note that I personally know the neighbors to the north, and they're aware of this, and they're perfectly fine with it. So, and acreage across the street, there's no objection there.
And even if there is objection, we're still looking at the right of the landowners to make these choices, right?
Well, we've done a lot of these.
A lot of these, and I understand the intent, what you get to be careful of is what happens so it is for an aging relative that's there, but we are potentially doing this lot split, allowing that for future, and they can turn around and sell that.
Sure.
to somebody else once the aging
Right.
has
And we've done
gone.
plenty of those as well. We split 5-acre tracts into 3 tracts all over town.
Well, I know, but I know that's something we're trying to minimize, especially if you've got areas that have got large lots and everything. I mean, that community in that area that's the way it was developed, the way it was done. And to change those zones and build it, I've got a little bit of issue with doing too much lot splitting, on these acreages when other neighbors had, I mean, that's what that was platted for and done for, was 5 acre
Yeah,
lots.
yeah. But,
So when we do that assessment, we do take into consideration of the surrounding zoning. If this was a request and there was no E2, 1, and it was all ag, I'd be like, you might want to try to buy 5 acres. You know, there's stipulations that have to be followed. You have to have the lot frontage too. A lot of times people don't, because you have to have frontage on a public or private street. And then you have to have that lot frontage at that front at the front property line. Sometimes they can't meet that, you know, so it confines them. So there's a lot of different factors that we assess when we make this decision.
I'm just curious for future planning too, would the planning department suggest the E2 there, and why not E1 or why not E3?
They didn't have the lot frontage,
The lot
so it
frontage.
goes back down to 80 feet for
Okay.
E2 instead of the 100 feet in E1.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right.
And the lot width.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Any public comment concerning this agenda item? Yep.
Make a motion to approve item 9,
6H.
6H.
what?
6H.
I don't know where I was on 9.
I'll second 6H.
Yeah, 6H. I beg your
Motion
pardon. I
second
beg
for
your pardon.
approval of item 6H.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White,
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 6I, discussion of possible action on adoption of emergency clause ordinance number 911.
Move to approve item 6I.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item 6I.
No, that's Mike. Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White absent, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 6J, public hearing, discussion of possible action on application for rezoning from A agriculture to PUD plan unit development for Dwight E. Collins Revocable Trust located in North Apple Southeast, Section 22, Township 9 North, Range 4, West Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma. Property location west of Main Street, approximately a quarter mile north of Southwest 16th Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma. Case number R 2022-005. This was continued by the Planning Commission to their May 23rd, 2022 meeting. Now, do we need to continue this, or does that matter? I'll make a motion to continue this item to our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Motion second for continuance.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White absent, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 7, discussion of possible action on approval agreement between the City of Newcastle and Utility Service Partners, Private Label Inc., DBA, Service Line Warranties of America, marketing participation in the National League of Cities Service Line Warranty Program for a 3-year term.
I believe this was brought up to the city multiple years ago. I wasn't really a part of that, but I don't know what transpired. But I had a Zoom meeting with the representative from this company, and basically all it is they're asking the city for approval to market their product, their service or service line warranty program. It's about $25 a month is what they told me. Takes care of their water lines and from the connection at the meter, on the back side of the meter to the home. So if anything happened to their water lines in the yard, I believe it actually impacted the inside of the home as well. For that fee, that's all they would pay, and this company takes care of finding them a local contractor to go out and take care of the business, and then the contractor bills this company for the service provided. We don't have to participate. It's something that I thought I'd just put on the agenda and get council's opinion and
If we don't participate, they can market to our people anyway, right?
they can. I mean, they can market individually or whatever. This gives them access through city website, things of that nature.
It just seems like, when I read this, it worries me a little bit that it kind of implicates us, because warranty work, and we've all paid for warranties or paid for extended warranties. In fact, my car, I'm getting calls all the time on it.
That's because it's Alexis.
But then you get disappointed so many times when you try to get a claim, and it's just the way of life. But I'm afraid that if our citizens start getting disappointed and they don't get a good contractor, so if I were to have such an assurance that this is a really, really dependable group, I'd feel differently. But I can anticipate the calls coming in and people coming into these meetings saying, who in the heck did you all recommend? And it's on your website.
That's my thing, is I worry about it being, that it ties us to being, feeling like we're recommending them.
Definitely want a disclaimer on the. if we
Well,
put
and
it
I just think you stay out of it.
I think we
Did
do too, I'm fine with
Norman,
that.
did Norman do that, do you know?
Norman has not done
Several small towns they listed did, and
Yeah, there was about, what'd they say, 23 cities?
that. 27, I think. 27 of the materials that were
Okay, 27 cities.
I just think it's a perceived liability that we just don't need to
Yeah,
have.
no need. They can go get it if they want.
It doesn't benefit us, I don't think it benefits our citizens.
We okay, just no action on this one, Jeff?
Yeah, you can do no action. I will say, as an OMAG representative, we would love for people to buy into this, because a lot of our sewer claims, even though there may not be city sewer main problems, we usually get blamed for those, even if it's a service line issue, so. But, yeah, that wasn't your question. Your question. Yes, we certainly can. Take no action.
Well,
Put
we-
my other hat on,
We
sorry.
can take no action tonight. If there's something that comes up, we can always readdress it.
and we may have a lot of observation of good success in other cities with a little bit more time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if that, you can bring it back.
Okay.
All right, item number 9, discussion of possible action on adopting ordinance number 912, amending Title 15, Chapter 156, Section 156.06, ordinance number 902 of the Newcastle Code of Ordinance regarding transportation impact fees, changing and amending each instance where the term gross square feet area of lots is used to read gross square feet of structures.
You can put it back up.
I'm working on it.
This is where 3 little words make a lot of difference.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
They do. When I read it first time, I thought for sure it said structures, and it didn't.
But we want to restructure, right?
Yeah.
And if you look, ours is exactly the same as Moore's, except we had a lot added in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And
Yeah.
so we got that 2 words added in, so we're going to take those off and then add these 3
Yeah.
words in to make it very clear, right, Jen?
That is correct, sir.
Yeah.
And when we find things like that, we come in and bring them in for an amendment. So, as you know, we have 4 building permits, commercial building permits in-house right now, and we have been collecting the traffic impact fee on the single-family lots, and anything that, for new development. But this will be the first time that we are actually gonna assess a fee on a commercial property. When we started looking at it, for example, I put, and you're correct as well, this is basically, mirrored after the city of Moore's impact fee, as the mayor stated, and I think it was just a mistake. So, example, Ziggy's Coffee is gonna go up here on North Main Street, classified as a fast food gas convenience category in the traffic impact fee schedule. So they are to pay $3.44 a square foot. So, and their building is 1,300 square feet, and they're on 0.91 acres. As you can see, at $3.44 a square foot times 639 square feet, which is 0.91 acres, would equal $136,358.16.
If we could
So
get just one before we change
That's gonna detour development. So, and I do, it was a mistake. So it's gonna be based on the square footage of the building.
Yeah.
Not the footprint, but the square footage of the building. And so at $3.44 a square foot at 1,300 square feet, you come up at $4,472, which is much more reasonable and equitable. Planning staff does support and recommend this amendment.
Is it, I don't know if this has to be on this thing, but the ordinance actually says transportation impact fee, so is it traffic impact fee?
I'm
or
sorry,
trans-
I apologize.
No, which one is it supposed to be so I can correct mine?
Let me show you. Let's go back.
I didn't know if that had to be,
I believe
One
it's
says
traffic.
Traffic.
Mhm.
that way I can just fix mine,
Yeah.
make sure I'm lining up right.
It's chapter 156. Transportation, not traffic. I apologize.
That's okay, which one?
You're right. Yeah, we need to be
To me,
consistent.
traffic makes more sense,
Yeah, but it's transportation.
so can y'all change that?
Yes, yeah. Transportation.
The only thing I thought about with this is, it's kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, my brain thinks, is this double recovery for transportation? No, because we're already recovering sales tax off of, for roads and stuff. And then we're also gonna assess it when they build their house, like, I don't know, it's kind of recovering twice for people for driving on our roads.
Well, Marcy, I'll throw my thought in there, that we had a couple of years ago. So many of these businesses are gonna lead to additional, signal lighting and structures and things like that. And Oklahoma City, as a city, said one of the problems they got into, they approved so many developments and so much business, and then they were having to add traffic lights at a cost they hadn't planned to. So I was thinking, we were thinking about this to help us with any type of traffic control beyond just the use of the street.
Okay.
Does
That's
that
part
ring a
of it.
bell with anyone?
Yep, that's part of it. And you
Okay,
know,
that's
eventually,
fair.
with enough traffic, you do have to widen streets and those type of things. So this is, and so when we did this a couple of years ago, we wanted to make sure we were in line with other communities, and that's why ours mirrors Moore's, because we didn't want to be way out there, but
Right.
when we talked to other communities, like, why aren't you guys doing this? That you've got to do this to be able to keep on top of things. So now we're back to where we're exactly like the city of Moore, which is consistent with most other communities around us. Any public comment concerning this agenda item? We've got a dwindling public. Alrighty.
I make a motion to approve item 9.
I'll second.
Motion
Tried
second
to
for,
make that motion a little while ago.
motion second for approval of item number 9.
I'm trying to make my records
Mike Fullerton?
match what they should.
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White,
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 10, discussion and possible action on adoption of the emergency clause, ordinance number 912.
Move to approve item 10.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 10.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White,
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 11, city manager's comments.
I've pretty much been batting 1,000 today, so I'm not gonna say anything.
Dang.
All right, item number 12, council member comments.
I don't have any.
Splash pad's open.
And people are loving it.
Yeah. I was talking to someone from the senior center, and they were talking about how their costs have gone up a lot. So,
That will be on the June
all right, very good. Very good.
council, at the start of our fiscal year. That will be
Okay.
included in the budget.
Very good, thank you.
A funny thing, I just went by there on Saturday, and splash pad was open, it's going, and I look over there's a few little kids, and then there's these 2 kids out in the flooded water, dirt grass next to it, just having a heck of a time, and I was like, you know, splash pad, they just want some water and some grass to go in. It was cute.
Those are the ones after Orvis's heart.
Yeah.
All right, item number 13 is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second for adjournment, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are